Hi guys, it's me, Kit. I'm going to talk today about how you should go about studying, and I'm going to try to keep it short. I'll give you lots of good advice related to what you should do, but unfortunately I don't have enough time to get into why you should do these things, so you'll just have to trust me. I do need for you to promise that you'll watch this entire video. Do you promise? All right, good. You should also watch a video about motivating yourself, but you can do that at another time. So, when talking about studying, I'm really referring to reading the textbook and your notes, not doing assignments and things. One of the best things that you can do when it comes to studying is to distribute your studying over time. Look at the same thing multiple times with breaks in between. And I'll come back to this concept several times later. We're going to talk about a number of things: how to study, where to study, studying in groups and pairs, and using flashcards and highlighting even. First, you've got to have the right attitude. You must take responsibility for your own behavior. It's all up to you. Your teachers aren't going to take tests for you. You need to learn information on your own. If you're not doing well, you've got to realize it's your fault, not your instructor's fault, and realize your future employers and colleges you're trying to get into might see these grades, so you must always do your best. Now, in order to learn, you have to actively use information. Running your eyes over the words doesn't help. You've got to think about information, you've got to write about it, you've got to talk about it. Just reading things over and over may not be as helpful as you think. Students often make the mistake of thinking they know something because they recognize it after previously reading it. They bomb the test and they say, oh, I went blank. Well, you didn't really go blank, you just didn't know the information in the first place. So, how long should you study? Well, the best answer is long enough to learn the material, however long that takes. You should definitely schedule studying though. I'll talk a little about that in the next video on motivation. So basically, schedule study sessions and view these as if you're going to work, something that you have to do. Don't force yourself to sit down for long periods of time if you can't keep your attention on the book. Or if you're planning on studying for 1 hour, read for 15 minutes, take a short break, then go back and read some more. Distributing studying over time is actually one of the best things you can do when studying. Looking at the same thing multiple times over time. So each time you sit down to study, review a little of what you had studied during your last study session, so there's always that built-in overlapping of material. As you probably know, cramming isn't good. It's much better to study 1 hour a day for 4 days than 4 hours on the day before the test. Cramming might help get you through a test, but it isn't good for long-term learning. Some say that you should put time between studying different subjects, so study subject A today and B tomorrow. There's actually a benefit to studying them back-to-back during the same study session. The more complex you make learning, the more likely you are to develop long-term memories that will last and be more easily accessible. So if you're studying for an hour, look at A for the first 15 minutes, then B for the second, then back to A for the third, then B for the fourth. There's this reloading that occurs each time you switch from one topic to another that helps make this method more complex and potentially more valuable. Now, do you highlight while reading? Some say there's no need for you to do this, but they probably say this because most students aren't good at it. So if you're going to highlight, the less you do, the more valuable it's likely to be. So cut back on the amount of highlighting that you do, and it's likely to be more valuable. Also, don't highlight the first time you read something. Read something first, then the second time through, do your highlighting. The second time through, you're better equipped to pick out the main ideas, and the act of picking out these ideas might actually help you to learn the content better. So, where should you study? Have you ever studied while lying down in bed? Probably shouldn't do that, since you'll likely get tired and go to sleep, possibly. So in order to learn information, you have to actively use it. So you've got to think about it, write about it, or talk about it. You must attend to it. You won't do this if you're getting tired. So you don't want to be so comfortable that you could fall asleep. Some say it's best to find one location where you do all your studying, but actually this may not be the best advice. It actually might be better to vary the locations of studying so you relate the content to different places. When you relate content to various locations, you may be more likely to retrieve it when you need it, since you don't just relate it to that one location where you do all your studying. Have you ever studied in front of the TV with the radio on? You've got to stop doing this since you're completely wasting your time. You must study in a quiet location, not in front of the TV with the radio. And I know why you do it, because you can't get yourself to study otherwise, right? So you need to turn everything off, including your cell phone, and concentrate only on studying. But do it in small increments of time. so you can keep your attention on whatever you're trying to learn. You might want to get some earplugs too. That way, wherever you are, you can be in a quiet environment. Take advantage of that time you have throughout the day, 5 minutes here and there, like right before class, or while you're waiting for the bus, or waiting to get picked up, or something like that. Put those earplugs in and take advantage of that time. You probably don't have time to waste, so you might as well study effectively when you do study. So when you do this, you take advantage of distributing the studying over time. Looking at some content for 5 minutes before 3 different classes one day just added 15 minutes of time to your studying, and it helps you learn a little bit at a time. Now, practice tests have been found to be extremely valuable. Your textbooks may offer these online, or your instructors may have some for you. Now, every time you're forced to reach in and retrieve information from memory, it helps you to build memories. And you'll find that the material is more likely to be there next time when you do this. Since I'm guessing that you don't like taking practice tests, there is a more entertaining way to take advantage of this concept by getting together with others. So I usually recommend to students studying in pairs, not groups, since it only takes one group member who isn't motivated to turn study hour into social hour or complaining hour. So instead, get together in pairs and quiz each other. So this forces you to retrieve the information. You have to reach in long-term memory and actually pull something out of there and prove that you know it. So sit down with your partner and take turns quizzing each other. So one of you open the book and quiz the other. Okay, tell me what this is. All right, now tell me what this is. Then you close it and you switch. You tell everything you know, one person fills in all the gaps for the other. So you do this for 5 minutes, trade places, and go back and forth. Now, study may be more enjoyable this way because it becomes a little bit more of a social event, and it's valuable because you actually have to reach in and prove that you know the information. When you read through the book, you may feel like you're learning the material because you recognize it, but that doesn't mean that you actually know it. Don't confuse recognizing material with actually learning the material. If you can't pull it out of there, you don't really know it. Another thing I encourage to do is to use note cards or flashcards, but not in the way they're normally used. They need to be much more complex. Don't just put words on one side with definitions on the other. Put questions that ask for examples on one side, then force yourself to come up with a different example each time you pick that card. So fill in the answer side of the card so it's fairly complex and add to it as you develop more examples of that concept. Shuffle the cards, read the question, then see if you can answer it. You can do this together too, or you can make a game out of it with your partner. Take turns picking cards and you get a point for the correct answer, and so on. Carry these around with you, and then when you have a few minutes, like before class or while waiting for the bus or get picked up or whatever, try to answer a few. Again, this helps you to distribute that studying over time. Helps you to take advantage of small amounts of time throughout the day. Finally, don't let yourself watch TV, play video games, get on Facebook, or do anything else like this until you earn the right to do this by studying a little bit that day. I'll talk more about motivating yourself to study when you don't feel like it in a different video. So, find a partner, start studying. Good luck.